Okay, now to compute for the individual current, again, we have the following answers. Earlier, we have R total equal to 261.5385, or to be exact, that is 3,400 over 13 ohms. And we have a total current equal to 78.425 amperes. So meaning that is I total. So if you will be looking at the circuit, okay, the simplified circuit that we had earlier, it is the same current that flows through this series circuit. So we could now say that the current on I1 equals the current on R13 equals the current on I3 or R3. So which is equal to 78 over 425 amperes. Okay. So I have now I1 and I3. Now I still need to get the value of the current on the individual branches. So meaning, kasi yung R13 natin is actually the equivalent, okay, equivalent resistance from R2 parallel to R12. Okay, so again, R13, back from the earlier discussion, is that is the parallel resistance or equivalent resistance of R2 parallel to R12. So now I could now compute for the voltage on R13, that is equal to the current passing through it, which is equal to 78 over 425 amperes times the value of R13 is, ano yung R13 ko? 800 over 13 ohms. This one. Okay, so I could now have the value of the voltage on R13, 78 over 425 times 800 over 13. Answer is 192 over 17 volts. Meaning, the voltage on this node or on this branch is 192. Ito yun. Is 192 over 17 volts. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, pag tiningnan nyo to, R13, back from this one, ano ba yung R13? Let's simplify this again. Okay? So, ito yung R1. Ito is R2. So, ito ay R1. Ito R3. Ito R2. Parallel sa R2 is R12. So, equivalent yan kanina is R13. Ito yung R13. Parallel. So, it's the same voltage kasi parallel. So, again, pag parallel, equal voltages. So, voltage on R13 equals voltage on R2 equals voltage on R12. Okay? So, we could now compute for the current passing through it. So, ibig sabihin, that is equal to what? The voltage times the resistance. So, I could now compute for I2 equals voltage on R2 is 192 over 17 volts divided by R2 is 100 ohms. Okay? So, that is equal to what? 192 divided by 17 divided by 100 equals 48 over 425 amperes. Look, the current here that goes inside this junction is 78 over 425 amperes. Now, the current passing through R2, as we compute it, is 48 over 425 amperes. Okay? So, on our voltage or current on R12, so that's I12 equals what? Voltage on R12 is the same, again, kasi nakaparallel, divided by, ano yung R12 natin? R12 is This is the value of R12. R12 is 160 ohms. So over 160 ohms equals 6 over 85 amperes. Look. So ito yun. Paglabas mo dyan, may current ka na dadaan dito. Ito yung I12. Answer daw dyan is 6 over 85 amperes. But according to Kirchhoff's law, sabihin natin ito yung node A. So dapat, pag kinumpute nyo to, 78 over 425 amperes equals yung current na magbabranch out sa R2 at R12. So that's 48 over 425 amperes. Dapat dito yan. Amperes plus 6 over 85 amperes. Dapat pag pinag-add nyo, it will be the same. Okay? So, correct. So, tama. So, meron ka ng I2. So, box natin lahat ng may sagot na tayo. We have I1. Okay, I1 equals 78 over 425. Okay, I2 or I3 rather. $78 over 425 also. Okay, I2 is 6 over 85 amperes. Okay, now, let us solve for, meron na tayong R12. So, meaning, R12 is what? If you will be looking or going back here, R12 is actually R4 in series with R11. So, we could now compute for the voltage on R12 equal to what? Current on R12, so meron ka 6 over 85. So, voltage on R12 actually is, voltage on R12 is na-compute na natin is 192 over 17 volts. So, if you will be simplifying, ano ba yung R12? R12 is this one. R4 parallel to R11. So, pag tinignan nyo to, let us go here. So, you have R1. You have R2. Nakuha na natin yan. Ito R3. Ito R2. So, ito originally is R12. Ang R12 natin is R4 series with R11. This is R4. And this is R11. Tama? In series. R4 in series with R11. So, yun. So, ibig sabihin, ito yun. May current ka. So, ito yung kanina mo. Ito yung I total. 78 over 425 amperes. Ito, R2 is 48 over 425 amperes. So, ito yung sa R12. So, equivalent nila. So, that's 6 over 85 amperes. So, we could now say that I4, ito I12 pala to. Ito yung I2, sorry. So, ang I4 ay equal sa 6 over 85 amperes kasi dadaan siya. So, ang I sa R11 is also equal to 6 over 85 amperes kasi nakaseries silang dalawa. Okay? So, I can now compute for the voltage on R11 that is equal to 6 over 85 amperes times R11. So, ang R11 natin ay equal saan? Check natin. R11 is 60 ohms. Okay, so 60 ohms. Okay, so we can now compute for the voltage on R11, 6 over 85 times 60 ohms, that is equal to 72 over 17 volts. Okay, now, let's go back. Ano bang itsura ng R11? Ang R11 actually is the series of R5 and R10. Okay, series of R5 and R10. Okay. So, yung R, so pag sinimplify natin, nandito na tayo. So, ito yung R1, R2, R3, R4, ang R11 is R5 parallel to R10. So, ito R5 parallel to R10. Okay? Again, let's put the branch currents. Ito is 78 over 425. Ito is 48 over 425 amperes. Okay, yung R4, okay, equal saan? R4 is 6 over 85 amperes. Okay, so meron kang R5 and R10. So ngayon, na-compute ko na yung voltage on R11 to kasi R11 to originally. So ang voltage across them is 72 over 17 volts. So pare-pareho siya. So that is the same voltage ng R11 equals sa voltage on R5, voltage on R10. So we could now compute for the voltage on R5. So I5 is equal to voltage on R5 divided by R5. So that is ano yung voltage? 72 over 17 volts divided by 100 amperes equal to 72 over 17 divided by 100 amperes is 18 over 425 amperes. So yung R10, so ang I10 ko ay equal saan? That is equal to 72 over 17 volts pa rin kasi parallel divided by ano yung R10? R10 here, R10 is 150 ohms. So 150 ohms, 72 over 17 divided by 150 ohms equals 12 over 425 amperes. Okay, look at this one. If you will notice, so ito yung 6 over 85, magbabranch out siya dito, tsaka dito. So, dapat, pag kinumpute natin yan, yung 6 over, papasok yan sa node na to. Tapos, magbabranch out sa R5 and R10. So, yung 6 over 85 amperes, dapat equal yan sa sum ng 18 over 425 amperes plus 12 over 425 amperes. Let us add 12 over 425 plus 18 over 425. Correct. So, equal. Okay? So, nandun na lang tayo sa nasa bandang dulo. So, nasa R10 tayo. Ang R10, lastly, ito yun. Ang R10 ay R6 parallel to R9. So, pag na-redraw natin, nandito na tayo. R1, R3, R2, R4, R5, okay, R6, and R9. Tama ba? They are in series. R11, no, R10 is R6 in series with R9. Tama. Ito yun. Okay? So, pag tiningnan nyo, so ito rin yung current na dadaan dito sa R10, which is equal to this one. 12 over 425 amperes. So we could now see that I6 is equal to 12 over 425 amperes. Current on R9 equals 12 over 425 amperes din. So I can now compute for the voltage on R9 equals current 12 over 425 amperes times ano yung R9? R9 is ito 50 ohms. 50 ohms. So that is equal to 12 divided by 425 times 50 ohms. 24 over 17 volts. Okay. So, last part na ng circuit. 48 volts. R1. This is R3. This is R2. R4. R5. R6. Ang R9 is actually ito yun. R7 parallel to R8. Okay? R9 is R7 parallel to R8. Balikan natin. Tama ba? Tama. So, pag tiningnan nyo to, ito na yung mga currents natin. Ito, tapos pagpasok dito, magba-branch out. So, nandito na. Ngayon, yung R6 natin, ito yun. Pareho siya. Okay? But, mapapansin nyo, ito yung R6. 12 over 425 amperes. Pero, pag tiningnan nyo, pantay kasi to. R7 and R8 are the same voltage, are same resistances. So, maghahati lang siya dito. Para matapos na kagad to. So, we could say that R7 equals 12 over 425 amperes divided by 2. So, that's 12 over 425 amperes divided by 2 is 6 over 425 amperes. Equal din yan sa current on 8. Okay, so ito yung mga sagot natin.